Hello friends, this is Adam with Movie Guy 365, and Avengers Endgame is fast approaching, so in the next part of our series for the countdown, we're going to focus on Captain America, the First Avenger. If you're new to the channel, please hit that like button, subscribe, hit the bell notification. I put out videos daily. You can also find me over at Twitter and Instagram at Movie Guy 365. So yes, now Avengers Endgame is really starting to pick up steam in the marketing and all that, and we're starting near the end of Phase 1 in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So that brings up, I think, one of the more underappreciated films in Phase 1, and that is Captain America, the First Avenger. And as you see, I'm holding the Best Buy exclusive 4K Steelbook, which recently came out. It's the cover for that. And we, of course, also have the 3D. This is the import. And the original Blu-ray with the slipcover. As you can see, I'm a fan. I do like to collect all the formats if at all possible. I'm a big fan of Captain America: The First Avenger, but I do recognize it does have a couple issues, which I'll touch on in a moment. But first, I want to talk about the discs and how they look on the format. So I'm going to go ahead and link the recent 4K review I did of Captain America: The First Avenger. I'll put that at the end of the video, so you can click on that if you want to hear my thoughts in detail about the disc. But I will say, versus the Blu-ray, it's an absolute upgrade. I really believe that it's worth upgrading your standard Blu-ray to the 4K. It gives it a new filmic feel to it that I felt was lacking in the original Blu-ray. The original Blu-ray is fine. If that's the only thing you really want to hold on to, you're not missing out on too much, but I think you're definitely going to get a feeling of an improvement over the picture quality. As far as the 3D goes, I love the 3D. Honestly, there's a lot of scenes, and you can kind of pick them out when you're watching the 2D version of where it would be. But there's a lot of immersion as well. I like to go back and forth to what used to be just the standard 2D and the 3D image. It's fun to kind of mix it up. It's one of those titles. I feel it is worth importing, actually. You get it for relatively cheap. It's still in circulation. So if you have a 3D capability, absolutely check it out in 3D. It's worth it. So the movie itself, I love it. I mean, Chris Evans, I was probably the most nervous about his casting than anything else, because of course we just recently see him at that point in time in the Fantastic Four movies, which I kind of have a mild soft spot, at least for the first one. It's not bad. The second one was horrible. Let's just face it. Cloud Galactus, come on. Anyway, Chris Evans I was very nervous about, but I can't imagine anybody else in the role today. I know that's a decision we're going to have to look at some point in the future. I can't imagine Captain America would be gone forever, but it's going to probably have to be played by somebody else. Like I said, we'll jump off that bridge when we come to it. But he's I feel like one of the few that was the strongest right out of the gate. I bought him 100% as Captain America. He was great in it. He's great in the role. He was great then. He's great now. I don't think he's ever really had a misstep in the character arc. He's a fun character to watch, even though he's very I think he represents and Evans portrays as well the Marvel version of Superman. And I mean, you look at him as a character, and I feel that he's as iconic as he's what you want to be as a person. If you strive to be the best you can be, the best qualities of yourself, I feel that Captain America in comics and in the MCU is that character. Like you want to be him. You want to be like that kind of guy. You want to feel that way. You want to be that way. And it's just something I strive to, and that's why I like the character so much. And I'm a huge fan of Captain America, and who I feel Superman also does. I was not a fan, just a quick side note, of what Nick Spencer did in the comic books recently. Absolutely just tore down that whole idea. And, I don't think we needed that, honestly, but that's just a rant I can go on all day about. But back to Captain America: The First Avenger. Hugo Weaving as a Red Skull I felt was really, really good. I heard a lot of complaints. I feel he was a weak villain. I don't feel he was a weak villain. I feel like he wasn't given a lot to do, especially in the back half of the movie, and of course there's, there is the potential of him to return, which we'll touch on again later. We've seen it, but yeah, I feel overall it was a good movie. Now, where I feel it kind of floundered a bit, and it took me a while to realize this. We had a great first half, and then they kind of montage all the cool scenes of them taking out like Hydra bases, with Captain America and the Howling Commandos. And then of course we get our end. I feel like they montaged the middle of the movie as quick as it was. It was like we got to a certain point where Cap rescues all the soldiers. And then it's just like, oh, quick montage. Boom, 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 boom. And then they get to the climax. We needed, honestly, in my opinion, about another 20 minutes. We need to see the Howling Commandos. They were a big part of Captain America in the comics. And they essentially get glossed over. And that was a shame. It's like they were rushing to get to that Bucky part. That I feel is what we needed in Captain America. I know it's like a lot of like to keep the movies tight at that point, time wise. But I feel that if you expanded on that middle, if you took that whole montage out, or just added 20 minutes of extra scenes of them doing stuff, and it didn't have to be filler scenes. You could have made them meaningful. You could have done more with Zola, like getting him, that kind of thing. That's how I think that Captain America could have been elevated. And of course, I feel he was by the Russo brothers in Winter Soldier and Civil War, which we'll touch on those as part of the series. But, I feel that that's what the first Avenger was missing, honestly. As far, of course, we get the Tesseract. This is like our real big foray into, Infinity Stones. Now, one can argue, did they have this in mind, when they were making the Avengers? I'm pretty convinced they did at this point. I think it was definitely something that they were considering. Whether they fully committed to it, I don't know. I don't know if they've really said anything one way or the other. I am convinced, however, that the Mind Stone thing in Avengers was not initially the Mind Stone. But I don't know, whatever. We'll talk about that next week or next time in the Avengers. But yeah, the Tesseract, a cool MacGuffin as far as the movies go. It's still being used even today, most recently in a certain movie. Yeah, I enjoy Captain America: The First Avenger. I think there's a lot to really love about this movie. Chris Evans is brilliant. As I said, I feel the Howling Commandos got the major short end of the stick. It definitely needed more of that in the movie to make it fully complete. And I think it would have been received better. But it still has a great point, and it's a jumping off point for the Avengers. We get that clip / end credit scene, that kind of thing. And I do love it. I love the 4K. I think it looks great. The 3D is awesome. And it's just all around we're a great availability of what we got to watch it at home. So leave in the comments below, what do you think of Captain America: First Avenger? I love it. Honestly, I do. But in the meantime, please subscribe, hit that bell notification. I put out videos every single day. So until next time, this is Adam with Movie Guy 365. I will see you at the movies.